So I guess that sort of takes us into the direction of the development of the project. So Kodi is developed entirely by volunteers. It is an open source project through and through. Now, with that, obviously you get a lot of people who come and go, who make a couple of patches here and there, but getting people to actually stick around in the project, this is a difficult challenge, especially when you're talking about the more complex parts of the system. Like skinning is one thing, but we're talking about the core of Kodi. That's where you start running into issues with having a lot of developers who you can trust to work on the project, you can trust to work on good code, and aren't just going to write like 3 patches and disappear.
Yep, absolutely. Obviously, with a 20 plus 21-year-old project, you sort of mentioned there's been a lot of contributors over the years.
Mhm, mhm,
You One of the hardest things. So Kodi it really is a very large project. It encompasses a lot of code,
mhm,
and the fact that it's the multi-platform, it's very there's a lot of history to it, let's say.
mhm,
So there's code that you'll look in Git and you'll see code that hasn't been touched for probably 15, 16 years. So when sort of just first being merged, it's still running in Kodi 21 at the moment. You sort of look at that and it's yeah, as you said, it's difficult in that sense for any one person to really understand fully the
mhm,
entire from top to bottom every part of Kodi. And as the years have gone on, people who contributed major parts of those things as they come and go from the project, um, all we can really hope on is that those people that are around or still make themselves available to the project for us to pick their brains and like so you got Spiff who isn't all that active, although last year he had a bit of a spree. He was doing a fair bit, but these people still hang around our sort of Slack or our IRC that we can sort of chat to, and they can sort of give us a bit of information about why things were done and
mhm,
pulling that through. So I've sort of said this in our sort of pre sort of thing. If you like puzzles,
mhm.
Kodi is very good in that regard. Just untangling and getting it all together and how it all works at such a large, I guess, diverse program. It's good fun from that side of things.
Mhm,
But yeah, it can uh, prove difficult at times. Just
mhm.
trying to work out the reasoning for some things. As you say, we have drive-by commit. Everyone who's a team member worked on whatever they choose to work on.
Right.
No one is told that, oh, you have to work on this or you have to work on that. If someone doesn't have or has only really got a niche sort of case, like we've got current sort of Garbear, he's pretty much been the sole driving force behind all the libretro implementation of retro player as we call it in Kodi. So when you've got sort of people that really have a real good focus on certain aspects, we get great things like that. But yeah, it can be often difficult to continue them on at various points in time.
Right.
So yeah.
Right now I've got the like contributor list open on like on the GitHub, and I'm looking at some of the biggest contributors on here. You've got Mondelez at the top here, who most of their work was done back in 2013 to 2016. 300,000 lines of code added, a million lines removed. Um, Fernet Mentor, who's had 1.2 million lines added, 1,800, 1.8 million removed. Last commit was 2019 or so. And there's a lot of these people who've been really important to the project over the years who, maybe make a couple of commits here and there, like, but aren't anywhere near as dedicated or deeply involved in the project like they were. But even though there are these people who have done so much work in the project, people like it's not like there's nothing to be done on the project. There's still plenty of work to be done, and it's you shouldn't be scared away by the fact that a project is so old that there are going to be these really ancient pieces of code that have been there from the start. You're right that it is definitely sort of like it's a puzzle, it's a challenge. Sort of don't yeah, what I'm trying to say is don't be scared away by the fact that the project has such a long history.
Absolutely. I think the history is actually a bonus for it.
Mhm.
There's a lot of places that if you've got an interest in something, you could pick away at it and improve it. There's always improvements through such a large legacy code base. So anyone who's interested in a particular sort of feature set or anything that they want to pick something and dive into it. It's very rewarding. As I said, we're run what was it, millions of devices. I think what do we 8 or 9 million installs on Android alone. We it's just so being it's nice to think that code that I or anyone contributes is being used and enjoyed by so many people out there. So
Mhm.
it's very rewarding in that aspect. So yeah, it's anyone who's sort of interested in program. And the other thing with this with Kodi is because of the size of it there and the amount of contributors we've had over the years, we've got people that are professional in the industry. We've got people that just I'm not in software engineering industry, so I don't do that for a living.
Mhm.
You've got other people that are in the academic space. So I believe Fernet is very much or was in that space for a long. I think he still is probably. I don't know, Keith. Yeah. So you sort of being seeing how Kodi has been architected and sort of work. It gives you again a lot of insights into I guess industry changes over
Mhm.
such a long period of time. Like it's you can sort of go back to and see that oh well designs and the way that you would sort of do something has changed or varied from what it was in the past and what is now becoming as everything around the ecosystem evolves becoming more standard or better like security aspect yeah all that side of things is being improved and it's yeah it's as I said it's having such a legacy project is good. Having such a legacy open source project is good because it gives you a lot of insight into um, I guess how the industry has evolved over 20 odd years.
Mhm.
So yeah,
And not just like the computer industry, but also the media, right? Like not just like source code and stuff like that, but think about you mentioned DVDs, previously, right?
Mhm.
Like that's really when we came out, and the original Xbox, of course, had a DVD player that you could actually put DVDs in and you could watch them. But all the media involvements we've also had to keep up with, and we've also had to sometimes maybe not the best be able to figure out how to support, right? And
Mhm.
so and now the last 10 years has been small form factor devices such as Raspberry Pi. We had two of the first, I think, 10 serial numbers of the original Raspberry Pi, and we were one of the first apps to be fully running on it. And so it's just exciting to kind of be at times at the forefront, but just be involved in this and being able to show. We've worked with a lot of partners, Intel being one of them, as like a showcase piece to like help get some technology. We actually have a channel where we have some Intel devs working on HDR with us today to kind of help improve that. And same with AMD. I think we still have the AMD channel as well. I love seeing that collaboration because people look at us as being not only a good sample app to prove that hey we got this thing to work, but also we are agnostic. Like we don't care. We'll work with pretty much anybody out there in order to try to further the movement of open source software, especially in the multimedia space.
Mhm.